Fiddlin. In 64 CE, Rome burned for days, leaving most of its citizens homeless. It's said that Emperor Nero watched and fiddled. My father's father was a Byzantine Catholic priest, married as was allowed. My mother's two sisters were nuns. I was born on Christmas Day, one of 13 children. 6 brothers studied in the seminary. We went to Mass weekly and often prayed the rosary in the evening as a family. We regularly helped out at the church. I was born and bred Catholic. I know about fiddling. It's bad. My parents were extremely devout and charitable. What they had was meager, but they were always willing to share. When I was a teenager, they took in a Hispanic infant whose parents couldn't care for him. I don't recall that they asked about his citizenship. In school, we were taught fire and brimstone Catholicism. I lived in constant terror of an eternity of unspeakable tortures. The potential offenses seemed endless, and I was drawn to most of them. I also learned that my non-Catholic friends were going to hell because they refused to accept the truth. This did not sit well with me, but I accepted it blindly. I was named after Paul, formerly Saul. He got his name changed for him when, on his way to persecute Christians, God struck him off his horse with a lightning bolt. Pretty cool. Plus he had a horse, until Nero beheaded him. Paul, that is. I don't know what happened to the horse. When in 6th grade I studied to become a soldier of Christ, I was to choose a confirmation name, a Rorschach test for a devout and frightened child of 11. So, St. Tarcissus, the patron saint of altar boys, he was also 11 years old when he was entrusted with bringing the Holy Communion to the condemned Christians in prison. When he refused to turn over his sacred charge, he was beaten to death by a heathen mob. I was also an altar boy until I was dismissed for arriving late, one too many times, for the 6 a.m. Mass. The spirit was willing, but the flesh was, sleeping. And while I was not at risk of being beaten to death, I feared that if I chose Tarcissus, I would be derided to death by older brothers and friends. So, St. Anthony the Hermit. He lived in a cave, ate only bread and water, and fasted for days at a time. The devil regularly tempted him with visions of succubi, women who, it's in the name. Anthony overcame these through prayer. He was obviously better at overcoming than I was, or am. He was also viciously attacked by the devil's minion in the shape of wild beasts, often leaving him dead. The schools, the church, told us of Catholics being persecuted relentlessly throughout history, and I wondered, how much sacrifice is enough? I also wondered about my friend Sarah Allen. She's not Catholic, but she is so sweet and pretty. She's going to burn in hell forever? Really? St. Paul again. When I was a child, I spoke as a child, I understood as a child. When I became a man, I put away childish things. Like blind faith to flawed organizations. Over time, my understanding of life and history broadened. The schools neglected to tell us the history of Catholics as persecutors, of Jews, of Muslims, of indigenous people all over the world, of other Christians, of the unwillingness to protect the vulnerable, of the accumulation of wealth while preaching the virtues of poverty. I know that it's not just Catholics, it's the rapaciousness of humankind present to some degree in all religions. When I questioned this, I was told to love the religion, not the sinners in it. though they were often running it. Why? And why this religion? Why not Buddhism, Judaism, Islam, Jainism? Look it up. Even Christianity more generally. I understand the fervent desire to protect the life of the unborn. I understand that a nation must protect its borders. But I cannot understand the callous indifference to the woman and the born child needing succor. I love the teachings of Christ. I hate hypocrisy, especially my own. I can't truly say that I've sacrificed much for my beliefs. I vote. I donate. I have volunteered my services. My work has been dedicated to helping others, although I have been decently paid for this. Now it is 2022 CE, and Rome is burning again, and I fear I am watching and fiddling. Honestly, these days, mostly I write stories, and I wonder, was Nero at least a good fiddler?